Welcome back, third graders, to a new online English lesson. And we will start this week with a conventions lesson in which we will learn a lot about punctuation marks like comma, quotation marks, and parentheses. Parentheses. Okay? Divide it into syllables to be able to say it. Alright? Parentheses. Before we start, I want all of you now to watch this video. It will help you a lot to understand what I will say. Alright, listen and watch carefully.
Punctuation, punctuation, here's an explanation of punctuation. Commas, quotations, parentheses. Using punctuation really is a breeze. Commas are used to separate words. The big brown fox is chasing a bird. A series of words will be more clear when you use your commas right and put them here. Dates and places need commas too. After February 2nd and Kalamazoo. Commas and parts of a letter shouldn't be ignored. After Dear Mr. Thompson and Truly Yours. A comma is what a compound sentence needs. They go before conjunctions and they help you read. Punctuation, punctuation. Here's an explanation of punctuation. Dialogue is a conversation. Here's what we need for punctuation. Quotation marks. When a character speaks, that's how we know. Now we know what they are, let's see where they go. My name is Jimmy, and I like sharks. We position exactly what he said between quotation marks. Punctuation, punctuation. Here's another punctuation explanation. Lines that look like these, they're curved and known as parentheses. Extra information is in between. Have a look at our example just to see what we mean. Corey is a member of our band, the jazzy little trio that's in demand. Punctuation, punctuation, that's your education on punctuation. Commas, quotations, parentheses. Using punctuation really is a breeze.
Alright, well done. And now let's get started. Let's start with comma. The first question is, when can we use comma? Where can we put the comma in the sentence? We use a comma to separate elements of a sentence, parts of a sentence, which are words, phrases, and simple sentences. Let's start with simple sentences. I told you before that we can combine two simple sentences to make a new one called compound sentence. But in this case we use some conjunctions and but, or, and before them we add comma. Okay, so we use a comma to separate two simple sentences. Why? To give me a bigger sentence called compound sentence. Look, Sammy plays football and he scored a goal. We can play Sony or we can watch a movie. He studied hard but he failed in the quiz. As you see, we add a comma to separate two simple sentences in a big sentence called compound sentence. And, or, but. Three conjunctions, okay? Alright, now let's talk about the comma to separate words. Also, we can use a comma to separate words in a list. How? We passed by a park, a store, and a school. As you see, three names, and it's a list of names. We add a comma after the first one, after the second, and be careful that before the last one in the list we add and, comma and. What about this example? The ants were small, brown, and active. I want you now to put the comma. In the first example, we added comma after nouns, a list of nouns. Now we can add comma in a list of adjectives. So after the first adjective, the second one, and there is and before the last adjective, right? What about this bigger sentence? In the winter, you have to remember to wear a sweater, a jacket, a scarf, a hat, gloves, and snow boots. So, more than three words. It's okay. 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. It's okay. Add a comma after each one. But remember to put and before the last item, the last name, the last noun, the last adjective. Okay? Comma and. Right. Also, we can use a comma between the name of a city and a state in an address. If you remember in our selection, do you remember this address? It's Jangmi's address in America. 112 Foster Terrace, Brighton, Massachusetts, USA. So when we write an address, we start writing the street, then the city, then the state, then the country. So we start to separate all items in the address, all words in the address by adding comma between the streets, the city, and the country. We don't add and in the address, okay? Alright, what about my address in Mecca? So this is the street, 92 Az-Zahir. This is the street, the city, Mecca, and this is a country, Saudi Arabia, alright? So add a comma to separate the street, the city, state, and the country. Alright, also we can use a comma after the greeting and the closing of a friendly letter. When we write a letter, we start the letter with greeting, like Dear Alice. If I write a letter to Alice, so I write Dear Alice, and comma. If I write a letter to my friend Ali, Dear Ali, and a comma. If I write a letter to my friend Sammy, Dear Sammy, and a comma. What about when we close the letter? What we do? We write this sentence or this phrase, sorry. Your friend, then a comma. Then your friend, then a comma. Alright, then we write our name. So I write the letter, your friend Ahmed. Okay? If you remember in our selection, I want an iguana. This is a letter. I told you that the whole selection is written in the form of letters between a boy and his mom. So he starts his letter with Dear Mom, then comma. And he finishes his letter with your sensitive son, your son, then comma. The same like your friend, okay? Alright. Also, we can use a comma to separate the month and the day from the year. So we add comma to separate month, day, year. Look at this example. April 28th, 2007, or we can say 2007, alright? 2007 or 2007, okay? So we use a comma to separate the day and the year. Also we can say December 25th 2009. Again we add a comma after the 25th to separate the day 25th and the year 2009. Alright, now let's move to quotation marks. We use quotation marks why, when, where. We use them to show exactly what people say from mouth to mouth. We use quotations to separate the speaker's exact words from the rest of the sentence. So what's said from my mouth, I put them between two quotes, two quotations or quotation marks. For example, I read a story today, I said. So my speech is between two quotation marks. Why? To separate what I said from the rest of the speech. So I told my mom that I read a story today. She asked me, what happened in the story? My mom asked. I replied, a whole city sank into the ocean. So as you see, what I say or what others say, we keep them in quotation marks. But be careful. There are some notes. First, use a capital letter to begin the first word inside the quotation marks. So the first letter is capital I, what, W, and A. Alright? Second note, use a comma to separate the speaker's exact words from the rest. So we add a comma here. What if I ask a question in the quotation marks? So we add question mark. What if I show feeling? We add exclamation mark. Right? So to put punctuation marks that end the quotation here, alright, inside the quotation marks. Capital letter, punctuation mark, and use a comma if you will keep talking. Alright, what other cases in which we can use quotation marks? Oh wait, if you remember in our selection Jangmi, here are many examples about the quotation marks. As you see, the comma, the question mark. So we use quotation marks in dialogues. Alright. The second case in which we can use quotation mark to put the name, the title of a song, poem, and story between quotations. For example, I read a story called Goodbye 382 Shindangdong. So this is the name of the story. I put the name of the story, poem, and song or book or anything between quotation marks. I read a poem called Desert Nights. So I put the name of the poem or the title of the poem between two quotation marks. Also be careful, sometimes the name or the title of the stories and the books are italics. What's the meaning of italics? It's a kind of writing in which the letters lean to write. Also the title may be written in bold, heavy, as you see in print or color, and underlined. There's a line under the speech or under the title itself. Okay, now let's talk about parentheses. Again, parentheses. Alright, we can use parentheses to show words and the phrases. What kind of phrases or words? Explanations or examples. what is the benefit of it to give extra information? For example, that song written in 1996 is my favorite. So I put extra information between two parentheses to give extra information or to explain more. Also, I can say some singers, for example, Elton John plays the piano. So here I give an example between two parentheses. As you see, we use parentheses to put extra information, to add example, to add explanation. Okay? Well done. Thanks a lot for watching me, but don't forget to do your homework page for 33 for 22. Thanks a lot for watching me. Till we meet again. Goodbye.